Let's get ready to rumble!
Hello and welcome to another episode of Reality Check here on the channel. What is going on? I am Matt O'Leary. I'm joined as always by Jets Chaos. Jeremy, how are you, my friend?
What is going on? It is a short week. Somebody wrote short week trap game. That's a good, I never even thought of it that way. This is or it could be a trap game. It could be. Also, it could be that we're going to get beat really, really bad.
Yeah, it could be. Look, the Jets are big underdogs. The last I saw was 11.5-point underdogs on the road. But I like this optimism from Liam. Plus 610 is looking like a steal. If you're feeling good about it, I say let it rip, and good luck to you. As we were logging on, Jeremy, unfortunately not surprising, but saw that Garrett Wilson and AZ Thomas officially ruled out of this game.
Wow. AZ Thomas out is a big deal, man. You know, he's a rookie and everything, but I mean, it's a big deal in that we just traded Sauce Gardner and his replacement is gone too. So what are we looking at? Stiggers?
Yeah, I mean, it could be. I'm going to look at the snap count from last week and see if that gives us a better idea. Okay, snap counts last week was week number 10 for the Jets. At corner, it was, Isaiah Oliver looked like was the one who came in, because you had Brownlee at 82%, Isaiah Oliver 72%, Azareye'h Thomas, 34%, and then Quantez Stiggers only 3 plays, so 4% of snaps.
Oh, so he didn't come in at all, even when Thomas went out.
Yeah, not really. They were using a lot of both Oliver and Brownlee in that role.
Yeah, I know. And we've been adding a lot of cornerbacks too. We traded for one, you know, like it just depends if they're ready. That Jair or whatever. Remember, he was a throw into a deal or something like that.
Yeah, I love this from Nate. Stiggers had 3 Revis-like snaps in the fourth quarter. He's going to be awesome. That's exactly.
Yeah, he was amazing, man. But you know, as Frankie from Flatbush likes to say, sticky Stiggers.
Sticky Stiggers. I look, that's someone that I like to watch in the preseason. We haven't seen a ton of him in the regular season in his first 2 years with the Jets, but he's one injury away, or an Isaiah Oliver rough half away from getting involved in this game. So
I always liked him. I want the Stiggers on the field, even if it wasn't as a cornerback. Like I always thought he could be. I always thought he's a better option than what we had as far as free safety, just because the way he played cornerback, you know, on film, it was like he seemed like he'd make a good free safety. He's really good at finding the ball. He's a good outfielder, you know what I mean? So better than what we have. Our safety room is just horrendous. Although Malachi Moore actually had a nice bounce back week.
Yeah, he you sound like a rabbi saying Malachi Moore.
That's how I know the name, man. I grew up in Brooklyn. I'm Jewish. Malachi, come here.
There it is. Oh, I love it. I couldn't let that slide, Jeremy. That was
have a sweet and sour meatball at your bar mitzvah.
The Garrett Wilson. So we talked a little about Azareye'h Thomas. Let's talk to Garrett Wilson before we get into our main topics of the day here. I know we didn't really see any AD Mitchell last week. He was a healthy scratch. Do you expect him to play on Thursday and have a role?
No.
You don't expect to see much AD Mitchell?
No. I think the issue is it depends. Who's the quarterback going to be? I think AD Mitchell will be active. Probably I'd be 70% he's going to be active, 30% inactive. I mean, he needed, you know, Mechie had a few day head start. That's why he, you know, and AD Mitchell as a boundary receiver, maybe there's more to learn or whatever. I think he's going to be active. I do. But the question is if Justin Fields is the quarterback, can he get the ball to him? Because that might not be his go-to receiver in this game. Like, and he's a one-read quarterback, right? So it's like it's basically who's gonna be the assigned wide receiver that's the first read.
Yeah,
Because that's what Justin Fields does. He's one read, and then it's like, or check down, or it's supposed to be one read, check down, one read, or run. That's what he's always been. Now he's just one read, take a sack, most of the time. But
you don't like that?
Yeah. But he did get back to running a little bit, right? And he looked better, obviously, against Cincinnati. And even this week, it wasn't as bad as those other couple of weeks, even though he was terrible. At least he was running away, or getting rid of the ball. So that was a little bit of improvement. But I mean, yeah, but Mitchell might be active, but I don't know that we're gonna see. I don't know if we're really gonna get to see him do a lot. And I think Tyler Johnson did really well when he filled in, and he's the one, and somebody's saying chemistry. Exactly. He's the one that has the chemistry right now. It's like Mitchell has no chemistry with Justin Fields, but I would love to see him on the field. Don't get me wrong. I would love to see him getting the opportunity. I would love to see the mentality of our coaching staff be not tank, but let the kids play. Let's see what we have. I think part of this season should now become, because we are in a rebuild, should be figuring out what we have.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think that's got to be the play here in this game, is figuring out what you have. And, unfortunately for Fields, he had good numbers against Cincinnati, 244 yards, a touchdown, 65.6 completion percentage. But, 3 of his last 4 starts have been 6 of 11, 54.5% for 54 yards, 6 of 12 for 46 yards, and 9 of 17 for 45 yards passing. And that's not including the sack numbers in there and the net passing yards. So it's been a rough go. There's been 4 starts of his 8 where he's had less than 60 passing yards, which is like really hard to fathom.
I mean, we talk about how awful Cam Ward is. We talked about how awful Zach Wilson was. We talk about how, like, people, Dylan, look at Dylan Gabriel, Tyler Shue. Look at these rookies, right? And as bad as any of them are, you don't see numbers like this. Like, you don't see numbers where it's negative yardage or 15 yards or 50 yards. You don't see that. This is beyond bad. This is unrosterable. Like, this is not, you cannot put this guy out there. And he's been that way and it's so weird.
Oh, we had such a good run going. We had such a good run with Jeremy.
Some of the games he looks, I'm back.
You're back. So good.
You can't have a quarterback where 50% of the time they're just not functional. You just can't.
Yeah, it's really, really hard to have any sort of offensive success that way. Which, again, we're putting off the main topic here for just another second. He hasn't said all week, he being Aaron Glenn, who the quarterback is going to be. I would personally imagine that it's going to be Justin Fields. I don't think on a short week they're going to make the change to Tyrod Taylor, but do you feel differently on that?
Unfortunately, I think he's going to go with Justin Fields, and I think that somebody in the chat said it best. I think the biggest problem with that, I mean, we're not winning a Super Bowl, right? We're 2-7. The biggest problem I have with it is because we can't evaluate the team. Like, we can't see what we have.
Yeah, he is making the evaluation of the offense difficult. That's a good call out from NJ Lauren. So with that, there was a big storyline with the New York Jets head coach yesterday. I want to play the clip here, Jeremy, because, Aaron Glenn went at it with Rich Cimini a little bit. So in case you missed it, here is the full exchange, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
I'm going to pass on talking about injuries. Essentially, Rich, he's not here, has all the answers, so you guys can get all the injuries from Rich. So I go right into this game.
Are you a candidate for IR, or is that not something you want to?
Ask Rich.
I'm asking you.
Well, I'm telling you to ask Rich.
He's not here, though. Hey,
Well, you better call him.
No disrespect to you or Rich, but we want to hear it from you.
You guys have been here. You guys have been hearing it from me, but now since we're just reporting stuff, that I haven't said, then maybe you should ask him.
Thanks, everybody. See you on the field.
What do you think of the comments, Jeremy?
I don't care. But like I think it's funny. Like if anything, like it just doesn't bother me. Like all I care about is that he wins. Like if he's a winning coach in 2 years, and exactly 2 years from now, where this young team that's 7-4 or 7-2, or whatever it is, then he could be like this all he wants to. I assume that Cimini's report on Garrett Wilson was premature, maybe, or they didn't want to get what. I don't know if it's not true based on rumor. Like I don't know, but he was certainly annoyed by Rich Cimini reporting that Garrett Wilson has a sprained knee and is out for 3 to 4 weeks. And what is Microfox talking about? I didn't complain that Tyler Johnson was the wide receiver. It's like I understand we have no choice. I just had to throw that in. I saw that comment. I was like, why do I have to pick the alternative? I didn't complain. No. Garrett Wilson, I said Tyler Johnson did a good job filling in last time, but yeah, he's going to be the guy. Or Taylor. I wasn't arguing. Okay. He's talking about quarterback.
Tyrod. Yeah.
He's not much of an upgrade. I agree that he's not a great upgrade, but I think there's a difference. I think that at least he's a real quarterback who's going to pass the ball. When has Taylor had numbers where he's had negative yards passing overall in a game? I mean, I'm talking about, Tyrod Taylor could be bad, but when we talk about a quarterback being bad, what are we talking about? They had 150 yards passing, right? Yeah. Justin Fields has 50 yards passing. Like there's a difference. It's not much of an upgrade maybe from our chance to win the game, but it's like we're talking about a dysfunctional quarterback who in 3 out of his last 4 games has averaged 30 yards a game. I've never seen numbers that low. Tyrod Taylor, look at his career. Has he ever thrown under 100 yards? Maybe once, twice. You would have to check, and it wouldn't be often. I mean, so give me a quarterback who could give us 150 yards. So yes, that's an upgrade. At least he could drop back in the pocket and go through some progressions and give us a chance to see if the receivers are any good.
And also, too, I think, and you tell me if you feel otherwise on this, I think the play calling has been noticeably different when Tyrod Taylor is in there versus Justin Fields. They tend to take more shots.
Yeah, now Microfox is going to talk about one game where he threw into 3 interceptions. I mean, if you're going to be a Justin Fields truther, go off and be it. You're in your own world, dude. If you're going to defend Justin Fields, you're on your own world. Because in 3 years, he will not be in the NFL. And if he is, he'll be carrying a clipboard. And no team that has him is going to want him coming into a football game because he's not a functional quarterback. But if you're going to pick one game where he threw 3 interceptions, at least he threw the ball. You know what I mean? At least he threw the ball.
Is pretty low. We're going, at least he threw the ball.
No one's saying Tyrod Taylor's great, but at least he throws the ball. He gets into the pocket and throws the ball. You could also look and see that he's not that terrible 50% of the games he's played in his career. He's able to be, again, not good, but 150 yards, 55 to 60% completion percentage. As sad as that is, that's much better than Justin Fields. That's my point.
And it was 2 interceptions, not 3 against Carolina. Right. Come on now.
Well, no, he throws interceptions. He does. No one's saying that Tyrod Taylor's good. I am not a fan of Tyrod Taylor. I don't think that he's an answer. But you're going to get more of an idea of what your team could do with him playing than what your players could do with Justin Fields playing. That's 4 games.
Yeah, and I don't know. He's somehow Justin Fields has turned into this very polarizing conversation as it continues to get worse as the year goes on, and that's just very surprising to me. But whatever. I don't think it matter. It does matter, but I don't think it matters in this context of Justin Fields is going to start this game against the New England Patriots. It'd be very, very surprising if that wasn't the case. We'll see, how quick of a hook they have. They pulled them at halftime against Carolina. I would imagine if Tyrod was healthy, he probably would have started that next game, but he wasn't. He's healthy now, but you won 2 games in a row. I don't know if you mess with the mojo of that, even if the quarterback play hasn't been very good. But nonetheless, Aaron Glenn going at it with Rich Cimini. I don't really care is my take on that, Jeremy. I don't really have a strong feeling one way or the other. And maybe if it was another reporter who was asking the questions, I'd feel a little bit differently, but you're not going to get me on here running to the defense of Rich Cimini. I'm just not going to do it.
I know. I'm just guessing that he whether it's true or not, like I don't know. Like what if it's not true? Like what if it's not true? What if Garrett Wilson might be out only 1 week? And he's just annoyed that he told the world that he's out 3 to 4 weeks? Or is it that, like, I don't know why he's so upset about it. Like, if I was going to be puzzled about anything, it's why does AG care if Rich Cimini is wrong or correct in that report? Like, why is it a bad thing that he told the world Garrett Wilson's out 3 to 4 weeks with a sprained knee? If that's not true, who cares? Like, I don't know why he cares. That's it. I don't care that much. Just win football games too. Like, he could be the biggest ASS hole on the planet to the media every week if he turns this around and in 2 years from now is a winning head coach. There have been winning head coaches that are terrible to the media. They're cocky. They're obnoxious, but none of the fans care if they're winning. Right? We only care if they're losing. If they're losing, it's just more on him that we're going to criticize him for. Oh, you don't have the right to act like that to the media because you've never won games. Like, yeah, he's going to bring that on himself if he wants to mistreat the media. But at the end of the day, if he starts winning, it's not going to matter. Just win games.
Yeah, the winning cures all in that one. And also, too, how Rich has handled it. Like, Rich wasn't upset about it. Like, on Twitter, he was joking around about it. So I feel like this is kind of getting blown out of proportion. And it's probably just these two guys who've known each other for 35 years that are going back and forth. Like, I just feel like it's getting blown up into a bigger story than it necessarily has to be.
Definitely. I don't think the fans really care that much.
Yeah. Liam's saying maybe they have beef from Glenn's playing days. I don't know how much beef it is, rather than just, like I said, him kind of busting balls with Rich Cimini a little bit.
Yeah, I like, again, a lot of the things they've been fighting over, like who's going to start at quarterback. Like, I think the fans are past it. We figured it out. You're not telling us competitive advantage. Like, it's done. Like the media, they still want to fight over it with him. Like, and I don't understand what I'm watching. It's like, he's not going to tell you. Why are you still arguing? Every week you're going to argue with him? He doesn't want to tell you. Who cares? He believes somehow that it gives him a competitive advantage. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, we've won the last 2 weeks. Maybe it does give him a competitive advantage.
maybe he's onto something after all.
Maybe he's onto something. Maybe every team next year, maybe it's going to be the new thing. Coaches are no longer going to tell us who the starting quarterback is.
Or injuries. That's the next trend setter. We're not going to talk about injuries.
They have to post them, though. That's NFL rules. You have to post.
You do have to post them. Nosekill Super Chat says 7 weeks of AG pressers and people say stop the excuses, just win. Then we quote just win. Turns out it's not good enough because it's special teams. Come on, people, pick a lane. Yeah, Greenbean was really fired up over this one last night because he was fighting with someone saying that the Jets were lucky. They were gifted the 2 special teams touchdowns.
We also lost to Pittsburgh because of special teams.
Thank you. That was going to be my point.
Right. When we lose games for special teams, you want to fire him. Then when we win games with special teams, he gets no credit. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and like they're the number 1 special teams unit in the NFL right now from DVOA terms. Their kicker hasn't missed a kick. The punter has been awesome, and they had 2 returns for a touchdown. And you know what? I'll give some credit to Isaiah Williams, who started off really ugly, has turned it around in a big way over the last couple weeks.
You have to be watching football for a long time and really understand the game to understand that special teams is a major, major part of an NFL team. Special teams, offense, defense. There's 3 components, not 2. And if you don't know that and you're arguing that it's just luck or it's not this or not that or it's not as important as the other 2, then you're just not watching football. Because we can go back in history and look at great teams, championship teams, and look at their special teams. And they might not always be the best, but they're certainly not the bad. It's about field position. It's not only the big plays. The big plays help, but it's about field position. Obviously, it's about field goals, right? Because we've all seen how many teams have had their playoffs shattered because of a missed 35-yard field goal. But it's more than that. It's special teams. It's field position is a big deal.
Yeah, it is. And we've seen, like you mentioned, like teams have lost games and big games because of special teams. And I just don't. It's not as great to talk about right now because of how many issues the Jets still have on offense and defense, that I feel like special teams gets overlooked, but it shouldn't be.
Yeah, put that up by Speedy DJ. That's a Speedy DJ. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is a great point. This is perfect.
Yeah, never forget the Chargers team that missed the playoffs with the number one offense and the number one defense. He's right. It was the number one defense, but lost games because they had the worst special teams unit in the league. I mean, hell, we're happy about it because we won both of those playoff games as Jet fans, but 2004 and 2009 in the playoffs, the Jets, part of the reason why the Jets won is because they're the Chargers special team unit. They missed field goals in both those games.
Right. I mean, look, one of the most devastating losses of my life, 2004. We beat the Chargers after almost losing because of special teams, right? Because of missing a kick, but they missed the kick. So the whole game was determined by which kicker was finally going to make a kick, right? And then the next week we go and we lose to Pittsburgh because we missed 2 field goals with a freaking kicker that we used a second-round draft pick to draft, right? So we used a second-round pick on a kicker. And what happened? We lost and didn't get to go to the AFC Championship game in 2004. I'll never forget it. But, it might not be as glorified, like we look at offense and stats and these kind of stats, but at the end of the day, special teams is a big part of winning games.
Yeah. And
yeah,
I was just going to pull up RB's comment. We lost a few games last year because of Zerline. We were at one of the games, Jeremy.
We were there. We lost because of special teams. We watched it happen. We lost in Pittsburgh twice. It's for us. It's 2 games in a row that we've lost because of special teams. Xavier Gibson's fumble, man, on the kickoff, and then Pittsburgh kicked a 60-yard field goal. Special teams won them that game, right? So Pittsburgh beat us with special teams. They got the fumble recovery on Xavier Gibson. And they kicked a 60-yard field goal and a 54-yard field goal. But again, nobody is sitting there saying that loss isn't on Aaron Glenn. Like, why is it true for one thing and not the other? If special teams is one of either the 3 components, if special teams is or happens to be the first component that this regime fixed, why is that such a terrible thing?
That's I don't have an answer for you. I was trying to think of the rebuttal. The rebuttal is going to be, well, they can't score points, right, offensively, but it's not a fair rebuttal. I still think it's an important phase of the game. All 3 are. They got one of them right. They hired a great coordinator. Glenn has to get credit for that. Dante chimes in with the super chat. Dante's right on this, actually. I think you have it wrong. Doug Bryan, the kicker for the Jets, missed, and then the next year they drafted Nugent. So that's what it was. In a result for that,
my apologies. In a result of that, but then did Nugent work out?
No, he got hurt, and then they brought in Jay Feely in 2008.
Right. But thank you for the correction. How did we get Doug Bryan?
I think it was just a signing.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, okay. So thank you for that correction. Same point though. Doesn't change the point, right? Special teams matters. It doesn't change what we're talking about. Like, special teams matters, man. Like, it matters. And if you lose games before it, you're frustrated, you're breaking things. If you win a game before it, you should be happy and cheer, not, oh, we only won because of special teams and it doesn't count.
Yeah. And
it doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't make sense.
And not only that, I want to say it was our defense who stepped up at the end, right? Like, for us to win, like, again, they stepped up at the end.
Yeah, I thought defensively they were solid. They allowed 20 points. They had a ton of sacks in the game. They had 6 sacks. Will McDonald, 4 in the game, 3 in the first half. Is that not what you want also? And Quincy Williams probably had his best game of the year also, flying around making plays.
And I want to say that, and this is not making excuses for the defense, but it is in a sense because it's real. When your offense, which our offense was doing, is going 1, 2, 3 and out constantly and not sustaining long drives, you have to give some leeway to the defense. It's hard to go out there and be out there the whole game. Like, we all know this. We all know that one of the ways to have a good defense is what we were hoping to do when this season started, was Time of possession, 35 minutes. That's one of the biggest ways you can improve your defense, by not sticking them on the field the entire game. So it's like, how many times are you expecting them to hold the other team? I don't care how bad their offense is. If you keep giving the ball back over and over, it's impossible.
Yeah, you're right. It is gonna be impossible to win that way. Just wanted to go through a couple more of these super comments and super chats. Thank you guys for the support. We got this one from Dano, who says, "Who's the cute co-host today, man? Look at this, some positive love from Dano."
He's too cute to call me cute, okay? And I say cute. Imagine Dano in his little construction hat as a construction worker with this big red
Yeah, like the
beard,
village people.
all skinny and everything. I can see the construction guys making fun of him, saying, "Hey, man, don't you gotta be able to lift 20 pounds to work here?"
Hey, I'm sure he has that construction strength. Come on.
Definitely.
I love this one from Those Kills. McNamara jerseys flying off the shelf. Look, we laugh about it, but having a good punter can be a weapon. The field position game matters, Jeremy, especially when you're not very good. The margins are so slim for you to win a game. You can't afford to not have good special teams if you're not going to play well offensively and defensively week to week.
You need everything you can get, and the other thing is with the punt returning, when they say, "Oh, it's just special teams," how often do we rely on a kickoff return or a punt return near the end of a game to get us good field position, because you don't have a lot of time on the clock, and you need to get into field goal range or something, and field goal position is everything. Like starting, not starting at your 15-yard line or 20-yard line or 23-yard line, but starting at your 40-yard line or your 43-yard line. Now you're only 1 or 2 first downs away from being in field goal range. So, yeah, we could talk all day how much special teams matters. If someone doesn't want to believe that or take that, to heart, there's nothing I could do. Like, there's nothing more we could do at this point. But I think the best example was the Chargers.
Yeah, that's a great one. I love that poll in the chat. That was a good one. Paul chimes in and says, "Team has definitely improved. Just need to drag the passing offense into this century." What have you noticed over the last, I guess 3 weeks to include the bye, but over the last 2 wins, the 2 games that they played? What kind of improvements have you seen, Jeremy?
Well, at the end, closing, like knowing how to win. Like in the end of the games in the fourth quarter, by not falling apart, like by actually, the game against Cincinnati, this was a team that had put up a bunch of points. And with 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, our defense went lights out. Like, in one drive, it was like got 1 first down or 2 maybe, and then they shut them down and got us the ball back. We scored the touchdown, took the lead, and then they shut them down. 4 plays. Boom, 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 boom. Game over. So that didn't happen the first 7 games, and that didn't happen a lot in the last few years. We don't know how to win games. We don't know how to close games. Tampa Bay is the perfect example, right? Same game as this one, right? Like at the end, we're in the lead. What happens? We let Baker Mayfield, who's not a running quarterback, go off over 40 yards and get them into field goal range. So that's the difference. The defense stepping up at the end, learning how to close, learning how to win. And then we got to give credit to the offense finding a way to score near the end of a game.
Yeah, I think what impressed me was they knew the passing game wasn't working, clearly, right? They only threw 11 passes, and 42 of the 54 yards came on a screen pass that was taken to the house from Breece Hall. But on that last drive, they were just going to pound the rock with Breece Hall out, and they said, "Stop us." And they also were beneficiaries of a couple dumb penalties. The Jets have been on the wrong side of that. But the penalty numbers, if you look, Jeremy, have improved. They were last in the league the last 2 years. They're about middle of the pack. I think they're 14th in the NFL in penalties now after this.
And I don't remember. And that's with being really bad for the first 5 games, where it was still a big issue for us. So that means he's improving, right? That's a change. We're watching that change happen. That's another thing I was going to say. In the last few games, I don't have memory of yelling at the TV of what are we doing? This is a shit show. I'm not doing the bad new Bears music I usually do, because usually agree with me, I'm like because like it's such a joke, it's a clown show. That hasn't been happening as far as penalties are concerned. Like we're always going to get some penalties. Everybody gets penalties, but it's not gross anymore. It's not like we don't look inept. But for a long time, we were looking inept. So that's another change. We don't look inept. We look like, everybody wants to, because once they decided they want to hate Aaron Glenn, they want to hate him. But let's be honest, in the last few games, last two specifically, obviously, he hasn't looked like an inept coach.
No. And I want to see that trend continue over their final 8 games here. You're at the halfway mark of the season. Can that continue to show in the second half? That's my hope here. All right, we're going to get into some more conversations here about the Jets responding after their big trade deadline. But first, want to shout out the sponsor of the show, Sleeper. Think you know football? Then try to turn your football knowledge into real money with the Sleeper app, the ultimate fantasy sports app that can turn game day into payday. Just download the Sleeper app and pick more or less on your favorite players. With more stats than any other daily fantasy app, just choose 2 or more of your favorite players from pregame or live. Pick more or less from the predicted stats, and you can win up to 1,000 times your money if your picks win. Use promo code O'Leary, and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. New offer, free $20, no deposit required promo. Terms and conditions apply. All right.
Remember, use code O'Leary. Never use a code that starts with the word green, ever. It's O'Leary is the code that you use. If there's ever the word green, you run for the hills.
That's right. Especially for someone who has wedding payments due this week. Yeah. We need to rack up the O'Leary promo code usage for this week. All right, let's get into it, Jeremy. Obviously we talked about the fallout from the trades last week, but they responded and they won a game, and their defense played well. They got a bunch of sacks. They racked up 6 sacks. They gave up 20 points. What has just been your feeling on after these big moves, seeing the Jets respond in the way that they have?
How many people out there were expecting disaster? Like the distraction, but also the disheartening of, oh, we're giving up. It was a fire sale. How many times have we seen teams do these fire sales and you lose the locker room? To see it now, I know it's only one game, but the fact that they came out on fire. Like, so when you talk about Quincy Williams, I thought, oh my God, like this is going to be locker room fire now because they benched him. And he comes out and shows that, hey, can we give Aaron Glenn some credit? He held the player accountable. He said that you have not, since training camp, you're not bringing the fire that you need to bring. And did it work?
It did. And I think it worked with Sherwood the couple weeks prior.
Right. Everyone wants to say coaches shouldn't have to motivate players. Well, maybe that's true that they shouldn't have to, but in the reality, they have to, because we see it. We see it that sometimes coaches have to light a fire for a player to perk up. And that was that was Quincy. If you watch that game, he has not been we have not seen him with that much fire since, I don't even know, definitely not this season. I mean, he played with fire. I watched that game on All 22. This guy was intense the entire game, and Sherwood was fired up. And wow, look how good that looked. This is the first game in a long time where I could remember linebackers playing such a big role in the football game.
Yeah, and a great point from RB, piggybacking off of what you were saying here. Saleh said you can't make grown men do push-ups for accountability. Glenn took their job away. That's the answer, Saleh. Yeah, it worked with the 2 guys. And look, are they the biggest stars on the team? No, but they're relatively big name players, probably the 2 biggest name players on the defense after the trades that they made. And Sherwood played his best game of the season against Cleveland. And you could probably say the same thing about Quincy. After he didn't start the game, but he eventually came in. And when he did, he played with a little, intensity to his game.
I mean, look, he AG literally came to Saleh and said, "Hold my beer."
Yeah.
Right? I mean, and it's for those who are saying, "Oh, now you're going to jump on AG and defend AG and blah blah blah." He still lost 7 games. Look, I'm not saying AG's the coach. I'm saying we don't know yet. I'm saying he got off to a bad start. There were things he did that upset me too. But I'm saying that 7 games was too soon to sit there and say, fire the coach, fire the coach, fire the coach, when he was handed a bowl of shit. You know what I mean? It's that's not how you do things. We have to give him some time. Now he could have been one and done if it would have just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And it was a shit show getting more and more like ridiculous and inept week after week. But we're seeing now, and we have to give him credit where credit is due, that things are turning around a little bit. Now, we can get killed on Thursday. That doesn't change the fact that things have turned around a little bit. The defense have started to turn around a little bit. The penalties have went down. His mistakes, his game management. We haven't seen a lot of like big mistakes anymore. Like things have gotten a little bit better. Like he's getting the players to play better through motivation, through accountability. Like there are things that are getting better. Does that mean he's going to be the coach? Does that mean I'm saying he's going to make us a championship caliber team one day? I don't know the answer to that, but I do know that I have to wait and find out, just like all of you. I don't know that he's not going to be the guy. I don't know that he's going to be the guy. I don't know that he's not going to be the guy. But I'll tell you this, I'm not going to get so biased in one way or the other where I'm not going to give him credit where credit is due. When he does things that are good, I'm going to call him out for it. When he does things that are
Bad? I'm assuming he's going to say bad.
bad, I'm going to call him out for it too. Like I'm not going to be one way. I always freeze when I talk a lot. Where did I cut off?
He said, I'm not going to, the bad part.
Yeah, like so what I'm saying is when he's good, I'm going to say he's good. When he's bad, I'm going to say he's bad.
Yeah, that's the same boat that I'm in. And that's, I think, the approach that we need to take. And going into this year, Jeremy, weren't most people saying this is an evaluation year? We're trying to figure out what this roster and what this team is and what this coach is for Aaron Glenn. And for whatever reason, after week 3, it was this guy stinks. He can't coach in this league. And like you just said, neither Jeremy or I are coming on and anointing Aaron Glenn as the guy who's going to be here for the next 5 years.
No.
We don't know. We have no idea, but they're going to give him 2026. He's going to get a second year. And with all the moves they made, probably pretty good chance that they're going to get the 2027 offseason too. So like strap in a little bit. It might get a little bumpy, but they kind of have to figure it out on the fly. So we'll see.
I'm going to pick an opportune time, and I'm going to like try to reconnect to my phone, just so you know. So I'm going to wait until you're talking.
Okay, if you want, I'll go through some of these chats while you do that. Rico the Pup says, I will gladly give AG more time. I wouldn't mind getting a new DC end of year still, and maybe a quarterback coach that isn't actually a running back coach if we're getting a rookie quarterback. Rico, I am so glad that you brought this comment up, because I think, one, on the DC side for Steve Wilkes, I don't think he has done enough to really warrant bringing him back. And I think, we saw Dan Campbell after year 1 go through and make a change, and they got Ben Johnson and it worked out, and they kind of took their strides after that. And I think the quarterback coach, that is one where I definitely think that they should make a change going into next year. If you're going to have a rookie quarterback, you need to do a better job of putting guys around him and coaches around him that can make him successful.
I want somebody with experience on their resume developing a quarterback,
which Charles London doesn't have.
I want somebody with like, if you're going to draft it, like let's say we ended up getting Mendoza or anybody, like what Simpson, whoever it is, we draft a quarterback. I think that if we're really serious about this, you need to get a coach that on his resume has developed a rookie quarterback in the NFL. I don't know if that's easy. I will say, if they're there, I don't care if you have to pay double what the position normally gets paid, or triple, pay what you got to pay, but value that job as being critical and important. Don't invest a first round pick, a top 5 pick on a quarterback, and then get cheap about money on how much you pay a quarterback coach. I don't care what you have to do, what you have to offer. You get the right coach in there to work with that quarterback.
You have to. It's imperative for their success. I'm with you on that one. Nose Kills chimes in. Thank you. Nose Kills says, first time this season, I dare say we played physical. Tacklers weren't waiting for someone else to go first or afraid to miss. AG greater than Salah after the bye. How about that one while we're talking about things that we needed to evaluate? How would this team look coming out of the bye? Robert Saleh wasn't good at it. Adam Gase wasn't good at it. Todd Bowles wasn't good at it. And the Jets win their first time out of the bye.
Yeah, I love this comment. I love it. I love the positivity, no skills, and it's, these are little things to build on. They're little things to be happy about, because it wasn't just that we lost after the bye. What he's saying, it's about preparation. We were not prepared. Well, we were prepared this week, right? We were prepared. So it's a big deal. And I like what Microfox is saying. See, we're making up now. I like what Microfox is saying a lot in his last comments. So,
The Frank Reich one?
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Go wherever he is. I don't know what he's doing right now. Pay him whatever he wants, because before he failed as a head coach, supposedly, I don't know. I don't know Indianapolis that well, but we do know he was he was a great quarterback coach.
He is the interim head coach at Stanford, which I did not realize. He clearly didn't work towards the end in Indianapolis, and that 1 year in Carolina was a disaster. But I mean, he definitely did good things as an offensive coordinator with the Chargers, and then following that was the Philadelphia Eagles offensive coordinator for the early Carson Wentz days.
Yeah. I mean, look, he's I would be all about him. I would be all about him. Like he was an offensive guy, an offensive mind. And I didn't think he was a terrible head coach. I think, either. I thought he had a lot of bad breaks, but, things didn't go the greatest for him. But I certainly don't think he should be in Stanford as some interim coach or something. I think he should be with us as the quarterback coach, making like $5 million a year or something. Give him some freakish amount of money. If you're going to invest a first round pick anyway, a quarterback you're going to eventually have to pay if he works out 50, 55, 60 million by that time in 5 years from now. Anyway, what do we are, that's don't be penny pound, whatever it is, penny pound foolish, or penny wise pound foolish, however it goes. Don't be like that. Pay this guy what he needs to pay, that or somebody else, but get somebody in here that you could trust with a quarterback.
Yeah. Matthew Smith says clearly Andrew Luck likes him because Luck is the general manager at Stanford. Good point. Andrew Luck, pretty good quarterback in this league.
Yeah.
How about this one from Melt, who says, do you still feel like the Jets split a game with New England? So in my preseason predictions, I had the Jets splitting with New England and Miami. I don't feel as confident because I didn't think New England would be this good this year. I thought they'd be around a 500 team. I also thought the Jets would be closer to 7-10 than they would be I don't know, a 2-win team, 2 to 4 win team. So I don't feel as confident in that prediction, but it's the NFL. You never know. Maybe things change by the time New England comes around back on the schedule. But how are you feeling on that one, Jeremy?
I don't think we're going to. I hope we do. I hope that we're able to win a game against them. I hope we win both. But if you had a gun to my head and said you have to pick right or we're going to kill you, I would pick New England. I mean, I'm not going to lie. They're looking really good. They got what we need, a great quarterback. It's all about quarterback. I'll say it 1,000 times until I'm blue in the face. It's all about quarterback.
Dana wants to know, how many total yards from Brees will it take for you to say, quote, we win if I told you? 200, 150, 225. So for this game on Thursday, tomorrow, against the Pats, I think it's got to be over 200.
Yeah, I think it's got to be over anything over 200 would show there's a chance, because it doesn't have to be. He might, what if it was over 200 and he had 2 70-yard runs and then it's a shootout and we lose? But if it's 200 because he had 30 carries and we just, held the ball I think it's time of possession is the better predictor for me, right? The information I would really want is time of possession. If you told me he had over 200 yards and we had the ball for 38 minutes, I'd say, wow, there's a good chance we won that game.
Yeah. That would be the recipe for success. And they, you know what? I think they gotta create a turnover, which they only have one so far defensively. It was a fumble recovery. They still don't have an interception. I think that would also have to be a factor in this. They'd have to turn over Drake May.
Yeah. I think turnovers, obviously, and and the thing is I don't care how bad we are at it. Turnovers is that kind of thing, right? You could have a random game where just the football gods turn to you, and for some reason, the ball falls into your hands for that day. It's always a hope. It's why they have to go on the field and play the game, and they don't just call one team the winner, right? Because the game has to happen. Nobody thought Miami was going to beat New England last week. Anybody who says they did is out of their mind, right? That was the last thing I think anybody would expect. But Miami came out and beat New England. I mean, and we have stories like that and examples like that all the time, right? Like where it shouldn't happen, but it does.
It does. It's the NFL. Jet Hennings has asked this one a few times, so I'll toss this one up here. Draft a quarterback or wait? This is something I'm sure we're going to talk a lot about over the next 5 months, Jeremy.
I'm always about never draft a guy you don't really want. Like never do it out of pressure of we need a quarterback and just take someone. I think that if I don't care when he's saying Miami beat Buffalo, silly driver. Did I say it wrong?
You said New England, but I knew what you meant.
Oh, sorry. Miami beat Buffalo. Matthew Smith calling me silly. This is the guy who likes Cam Ward. Like
oh no,
he likes the worst quarterback in the NFL. But anyway, I say that you draft a quarterback if you love a quarterback. Like if the quarterback they want or is available via trade, they don't trade up if they need to trade up to get him. And if the quarterback that you want is available to you, you grab him. Now the real question comes. This is the harder part. Let's say there's nobody that you want. It's really difficult in that situation because I'm with Matt and I know how you feel about having to wait till 27. It's a really shitty thing. It's a really shitty thing to have to wait another year with ineptitude at the most important position. It's really hard for me to say I'm okay with that. I think you watch the Giants load up, at least they had functional quarterbacks. They got Russell Wilson. They drafted Dart. They got Jameis Winston. Even that Cutlets kid they let go. All four of them feel like they're better than Justin Fields, at least 3 out of the 4. So, I mean, could we find a way to at least, if there's no one they like and we can't draft one, could they at least go out and get somebody that just has some level of competency that we could at least, maybe they're not great, maybe they're not the answer, but like we're saying, we could evaluate what we have. That they could at least get the ball to people, that we could see what kind of football team we are. Like be bad like other quarterbacks are bad. Be bad like, just like there are bad quarterbacks in the league that aren't very good, but they're a million times better than what we have. Can I have that? Like Jordan Love hasn't been that good, right? He didn't look that good. I think, very overpaid right now. But that's a bad example because we're not going to get a guy as good as Jordan Love. But just get me a quarterback that's bad, but not like dysfunctionally bad. Like, you know what I mean? Like if we're not going to get him.
Maybe.
Yeah, like exactly. This is what I'm talking about. Just get me, like if it's like Flacco would be an example of just as long as it's a functional quarterback, like find a way to get us somebody. But again, I really wish and hope that we're able to find the guy we want in 2026 and we don't have to wait any longer. But I also cannot condone using valuable draft capital on a quarterback when you don't really love the quarterback.
Yeah, that's the most important thing is you have to really like the guy. Very early in this process still, it's subject to change by the time April rolls around. But it feels like they've went and watched Fernando Mendoza the most. I know it was boots on the ground for both Rich Spielman and Darren Muji watching Fernando Mendoza last week against Penn State.
Yeah. I mean, I knew they were watching him. And even if they weren't, I was never worried about it because, I mean, we haven't even started the offseason yet in the whole process, right? So I was never panicking about that. When people saying, why are we at this game? Why aren't we at that game? Everybody needs to relax. Don't read into anything. Don't read into anything. When the interviews happen, we always go crazy about who we interviewed and didn't interview. It never means anything. It's a freaking show. Nobody, you don't know if they want people to know what we're thinking. It's all of a game. It's all a game. There's no point in trying to read the game. Like just You know what I mean? There's no point. You're never going to read it right. It's very rarely right. You don't know who we're going to really want, what we're really going to do. Sometimes if we end up losing out or losing enough games and we're picking one or two, we might show our cards. We've done that in the past on purpose because it doesn't matter. But I wouldn't read into any of that. The fact that we're in those games, it makes sense that we're evaluating him. It makes sense that we're going to those games live and that our team is there because obviously he's the number one quarterback prospect in this draft. So it makes sense that we're looking at him, right? Jesse's asking me a question that's so funny, Jesse P, because I know it's because of my posts on. It's because of what I put on X all the time. He's asking me about Averill.
Okay,
Arvell Reese.
Arvell Reese. Let's talk about it. I know you called it. You used the word that gets tossed around a lot, but you don't toss it around as much as others. Generational.
I used it yesterday. He's generational. To me, I saw all the chatter about him. I liked him like everybody else likes him, right? Great player. Then when Ryan said it yesterday, I went and I watched the All 22 and I started watching a couple of games with him. He's generational. He's ridiculous. He's a needle moving defender. He's like, you want a Myles Garrett type of player, a Watts type of player. You want a guy who changes your defense, Max Crosby. If you want a guy that's going to be on tackles, like all the greats throughout history, it's never a guarantee. The draft is never a guarantee. But if there was ever a defensive prospect that makes me think of those guys that I believe is going to be a really move the needle for a team, it's this kid, Arvell Reese. If we picked him with the first pick over Mendoza, I would be a little annoyed. Okay. Not because of the player. I would love the player. I'd be super excited about the future with the player. I'd be annoyed that they didn't love Mendoza like I do. I think Reese is a better football player or a better prospect than Mendoza in the sense that I recognize with any quarterback, there's a tremendous amount of risk, right? There's always low floors. I think that Arvell Reese has the higher floor. I think disappointing with Arvell Reese is still an all-pro or a really good football player, right? There's no limit to my feelings about this kid. Like I could see him being this dominating Hall of Fame, future Hall of Fame, the whole thing. This kid is special. Mendoza, I think, could be a really good quarterback for us, maybe even a franchise quarterback, but not to that level of certainty. But because of the position, if we had the first pick, how many times do you get the opportunity to pick your franchise quarterback?
That's the thing. And it goes back to the positional value argument. And quarterback is the most important position in the sport. And if they like someone at the position, then take them. If for whatever reason, like you said, maybe they're not as high on either Mendoza or Simpson, it wouldn't be the most shocking thing for me for the Jets to take Reese, because I think Glenn would see that and go, I could use this guy all over my defense. I could have him line up as an edge rusher. I could have him line up as a linebacker. And I could see why it would be appealing to him personally.
And I would understand what they were doing. Like if someone said, what are they doing? Are they crazy? How could they not take a quarterback? What they're doing, whether you agree with it or not, is very obvious. If we were to not take a quarterback, even though we had a top 2 pick and one of those guys that we love are there, and if they were to take a guy like Reese, it means that they decided their strategy was to build up the roster more and bring the quarterback in later. Like 2027, we have 3 first-round picks. There's probably a lot of confidence that if we absolutely have to, we have the draft capital to make sure we get the guy we want in 27, right? Because we have 3 picks in 27. So what it means is we decided to just take the best player available and build the roster up more and then get the quarterback. It's just that stings for me. Because to me, I don't want to live any longer without our quarterback. I just want to end this nightmare of never having a quarterback.
When will it end, Jeremy? When will it finally end for this team? I'm with you. Mendoza is my preference right now. I think I like Ty Simpson more than you do. I would be comfortable taking him. I know the whole, he's only started the X amount of games thing. I also think, I forget, someone had it in the chat. The chat's gone through at some point, but it was saying the college football playoff is going to be important to watch for the evaluation on both these guys. And I agree with that. I think seeing them go up against the best of the best in the college football playoff is a good indicator on how well they may or may not be able to handle going to the NFL.
Personally, for me, Mendoza's winning the battle of against good competition. Like if that's what you're looking at, like so far overall against good competition. I didn't think Simpson did horribly. He played a pretty good defense though in Iowa. Was it Iowa? I think that's who they played last week. But he wasn't as dominant as he usually is. But I think the playoffs will answer that question. I think that we'll know more a lot. We're going to learn a lot more about Ty Simpson, as provided Alabama makes the playoffs, which obviously it looks like they're going to. But hopefully Alabama will, for the sake of evaluation purposes, hopefully Alabama will win at least one playoff game. So hopefully we get to see Ty Simpson in a minimum of 2 playoff games, because it would be nice to see him under that kind of pressure against really good quality opponent and a good quality defense.
Yeah, it's going to be a really big test. And this is what Jesse's saying. Got to watch the Big Ten championship game. We'll say a lot about Mendoza. And that's look, Jet fans, they started this past week a little bit more, especially with the additional draft picks. I've watched a good amount of Mendoza starts. I've watched a good amount of Mendoza film and Simpson film also. It's fun, right? Like this is the fun time of year where we get to take a look at our favorite draft prospects, and I'm sure we'll break them down over the next few months. But there's good.
I was just saying, by the way, I don't care what the rankings or what the ratings or the perception of a defense is. Like when Mendoza played Penn State, I look at the game. In that game, he was under pressure all game. I don't care if Penn State had the worst defense in the league in all college football going into the game. The reality is when Mendoza dropped back, he was under pressure. When Mendoza was throwing passes to receivers, they were not wide open. They were tightly covered, and he's been doing that all season. So that's what I look at. So like the competition is not everything. You also have to watch the game. If you see a guy is under pressure and still able to complete a pass to a guy who's not 3 steps open. My problem is we glorify quarterbacks and show highlight reels of them throwing 35, 40 yard, 50, even 45, 50 yard passes downfield to wide open, uncovered wide receivers when they were under no pressure. And I say, who cares? Like you have to make those completions. If you don't, then we would have no interest in drafting you. We expect you to do that. The thing I'm looking for is when it's tightly covered guys and the quarterback under pressure is forced to make passes that are very, very well placed.
Yep. And that's a very, very good point. A very good point on how we should be looking at this quarterback process. And we're still in the early stages of it. So we'll see how that goes. We have reached the 4 o'clock mark. Our hour here is done, Jeremy. It's a blast.
Impossible.
I know it goes quickly. Next week, I'm excited because next week, Jeremy, it'll only be like 3 days out from when I'll see you. So we're getting close.
Well, I was thinking the other day, I was going to say to you, hey, Matt, in 2 weeks from now, just 2 weeks, these weeks go by so fast. You'll be a married man. We'll be doing this show and you're a married man. It's kind of cool.
It is cool. So I'm looking forward to it. We'll give a live update from the mashed potato bar at the cocktail hour. But for now, that'll do it for us. I'm Matt. He is Jeremy, Jets Chaos, and we'll catch you next time.
Peace.